It was a warm Saturday evening in Lagos, Nigeria. The sun had dipped behind the tall buildings, casting a golden glow over the bustling city. Inside a cozy apartment, Chinyonso and Adaora were preparing for a special evening out. The little son, Jidena, was busy playing with his toys in the corner, unaware of the changes unfolding in intoning their home. Chinonso, dressed in a sharp navy blue suit, stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie. His reflection smiled back at him, confident, successful, ready for the night. Adaora, his wife, was in the kitchen, tying a headscarf around her head as she hummed to herself while packing a small bag. The doorbell rang, interrupting the peaceful silence. Adaora, can you get that? I think the babysitter is here. Chinonso called from the mirror. Adaora sighed, a little anxious, but nodded and headed for the door. When she opened it, there stood Kemi, the young woman who had come highly recommended. Kemi was stunning, her bright smile and sharp features immediately catching Adaora's attention. She was dressed in a chic outfit that made her look like she could be a model. There was something about her presence that made Adaora's stomach flutter uncomfortably, but she tried to shake it off. Good evening, Ma. I'm Kemi the babysitter, she said confidently, her voice soft but firm. Oh yes, come in. We're just about to leave, Adaora replied, her voice warm but laced with hesitation. As Kemi stepped into the living room, she exchanged a brief, polite smile with Chinyonso. He stood up, looking pleased to finally meet her. Kemi, it's great to meet you. I've heard good things. Everything looks good on your resume. I think you'll be perfect for tonight, Chinonso said, his voice full of approval. Adaora watched the interaction closely, a sinking feeling forming in her chest. She's so young, Adaora thought, so confident, so attractive. Does Chinonso think she's perfect too? But she didn't say anything, only nodded and excused herself to get ready. Later, as Chinyonso and Adaora finished their preparations, Adaora couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. She stood before the mirror in the bedroom adjusting her dress. Since giving birth to Jidana, she had struggled with her body. The weight she couldn't lose, the lingering stretch marks. Her reflection seemed foreign to her. She thought about how Chinonso, a successful film producer, was always surrounded by young, pretty actresses. He's bound to notice them, she thought bitterly. What if he notices her? Her thoughts spiraled and she couldn't help but feel that Kemi, with her flawless skin and perfect figure, was a threat. She rubbed her hands over her stomach, sighing deeply. Downstairs, Chinyonso and Kemi sat on the couch in the living room, talking about the upcoming evening. Adara had given final instructions to Kemi on how to look after Jidena. As Adara moved toward the door, she glanced at Kemi once more, this time feeling an inexplicable sense of unease. There was a confidence in Kemi's eyes that unsettled her. Everything is set, Kemi. Make sure Jidena stays in bed by 9, Adaora said, but her voice was softer than usual, almost uncertain. Don't worry, Ma, Kemi responded with a smile that seemed a little too perfect. I've handled kids before. You can trust me. Adaora gave a strained smile and walked out the door, her mind racing. As the car pulled out of the driveway, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it only to see a message from Kemi. Her heart skipped a beat. The message was playful, almost flirtatious. I bet your husband is as charming as you said he was. Such a great guy. Adaura's stomach dropped. The uneasy feeling she had earlier was now a full-blown knot. She tried to ignore it, but her instincts told her something was wrong. Am I just overthinking this? She wondered. Back inside the apartment, Kemi leaned a little too close to Chinonso as she poured him a drink. The air was thick with tension. She smiled, but there was something in her gaze, a subtle invitation. Chinonso shifted uncomfortably in his seat, trying to stay polite. I think I've had enough, he said, politely setting his glass down. Oh, come on, just one more, Kemi insisted, her voice soft as she moved closer. You know, I've always dreamed of being in a movie. Maybe you can help me get a role. I've heard you work with some top stars. Chinonso chuckled nervously. I don't know about that, but I'm sure you'll find your way in this business. But Kemi didn't seem to take the hint. She leaned in even closer, making Chinonso feel more and more uncomfortable. He politely moved back, his thoughts swelling. Something wasn't right. Meanwhile, Adaora sat in the back seat of the car, the situation replaying in her head. She looked down at her phone again, and this time her fingers trembled as she opened the messages between Kemi and Shinyonso. The playful banter in Kemi's text made her feel sick. I have to confront her, Adaora thought, her heart pounding in her chest. When she arrived home, Adaora stormed through the door. Chinonso was still sitting with Kemi, laughing a little too loudly for her liking. Her emotions boiled over as she marched in, her eyes blazing. You, what is this? She demanded, pointing at Kemi. What were you trying to do? Chinonso shut up, confused. Adaora, what are you talking about? I knew it. Adaora shouted, her voice shaking. This was all just a test. You've been flirting with her, trying to get something in return. Kemi, caught off guard, stammered, No, ma, I didn't. Enough! Adaora cut her off. You need to leave. Now. Kemi quickly gathered her things, her face flushed with embarrassment. She left without another word, and Adaora turned to Chinonso, tears filling her eyes. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I've been feeling so insecure, like you might find someone younger, someone more beautiful, and forget all about me. Adaora confessed, her voice trembling. Chinonso walked over and held her tightly. Adaora, I love you. You're the only one for me. I've never looked at anyone else, and I never will. This test, it wasn't necessary. Adaora wiped away a tear. I've been letting my fears control me. I should have trusted you more. Chinonso kissed her forehead. Trust is everything, Adaora. Without it, we have nothing. Let's rebuild it together. Chinonso and Adaora sat on the balcony, the Lagos skyline glowing softly beneath the stars. Jidana played in the yard, laughing as he ran around. We've learned something tonight, Adaora said, her voice calm and reflective. Yes, Chinonso replied, squeezing her hand gently. That trust is the foundation of everything. They sat in comfortable silence, knowing that the road ahead would require honesty, understanding, and most of all, trust. And that was all they needed.